since I've done one of these voiceovers. I have been on vacation, and I actually just finished getting over COVID, so that's why I might sound a little bit different. I'm technically COVID-free, but you know, I kind of still sound a little raspy, but that's fine. Anyway, this is actually a older piece, but I still have the footage laying around for it, and I really did want to talk about it, but right before vacation and then COVID, I was really preoccupied, and I was having fun putting out some more gaming footage instead of some art, mixing things up, but I was really inspired by a good friend of mine, TokyoZilla, on Twitter. They're a good friend of mine, and I will put up the picture that inspired me most. I was doing master studies, and I really like their style. The use of the colors and the shading and the highlighting and just how they render is just so interesting to me. It's sort of hard to describe, but you'll probably understand the gist just by seeing some images. But I thought it would be a good idea to try and take what I learned from that master study and put it into a actual piece of art. The nice thing about this was, as difficult as it also was, is that I did a pretty nice background too. It was kind of hard because they don't do a lot of backgrounds, so it's sort of hard to compare what I'm doing for their characters and have that translate into a background. But it was a fun challenge nonetheless, and I am pretty pleased with it. Doing rocks is kind of fun because there are a lot of like facets and flat edges, and you can kind of finagle them and kind of still get them to look pretty good. Obviously the trees in the background are pretty much also just blobs, so it's kind of nice too, but to spice things up, to really kick it up a notch, I really wanted this water to almost look like it's glowing, because this is supposed to be like an onsen or a Japanese spring, so there's, but you know, some like mysticism to it, so everything's glowing a little bit, so it's kind of nice to do different lighting, that there's light emanating from the water, but there's also the night sky that's giving off a little bit of a glow, a little gentle light. And something I found really helpful was to add like a layer in between these closer rocks and the farther rocks, is like a little layer of gray, like smoke. I guess you could, not smoke, steam? Yeah, from the hot water, because it's a spring, duh. But it really helps just push those rocks further away into the background. It's become pretty useful. It's something you can do in most art pieces that don't have steam. It just helps really push your background objects further into the background and helps keep your eyes on the foreground objects or characters. Whatever you got going on. Maybe it is just a landscape. But I ended up spending a good amount of time just trying to get these rocks to look right, because the ones on the left-hand side I really liked, but the ones on the right, they just like didn't quite hit the way I wanted them to. And I think it's because you can really tell on the left-hand side where the top flat surface of the rock is, but some of the rocks on the right-hand side sort of look rounded, which I guess would kind of make sense if it's like eroded by water. Rocks usually get pretty round, but eventually I get it there. I get it where I want it to be, with the water dripping over it and stuff. And speaking of water, actually, it was really fun to do the bath water, spring water, whatever. Because water is funky to also get to look right. It And I don't know if I quite nailed it here. It looks a little too stylized or animated for the rest of the piece. I kind of wish I softened some of the highlights in the water to give it more of a... the word I'm looking for is webbed, but it's not quite the word I want to use. But you know, that like little bit of lapping edge of the water, the foam. And then I added a few petals in there, and it was fun to give it little ripples in the water. The funny thing about doing this on stream was that I was really kind of bank on doing most of the background because I think I had already started working on Eerie, the main character in the very center, who we will see soon. I had already started to render, and I was like, oh boy, I gotta make sure that I can stretch a whole stream out of this because I don't want to end up doing like 10 minutes of the background and then 10 minutes of the character and be like, well, I got nothing to work on. But I did know I wanted to make sure I captured most of the process because I've been really, really bad about recording myself when I'm not streaming. So I end up losing good footage or good content to make. Oh yeah, see? Most of it is rendered. Sort of. Doing the lighting for this was really, really fun because Eerie's horns are supposed to be sort of crystalline, so I got to add like a bunch of highlights and then reflective highlights, just add like a bunch of different colors in there. And it was interesting to shade with like a purpley pink for the highlights, at least from the water up. Who is it that does shades with pink? I think it's Loish, L-O-I-S-H, who does that? I think they do it sometimes. It's pink or blue, I can't remember, but it was a really fun challenge to do some more dramatic lighting. I've been really trying to push myself in that area, because it's not something I typically do often, but I'm finding the more I do it, it's not as hard as I think it is. It makes me think a little more, sure, but it's really, really fun, it's still challenging, and I typically do end up still liking the result by the end of it. Another thing I did, I can't remember if I ended up using a different brush for a good portion of this, because I'm like looking at the footage and the rendering of it seems so much more a little softer, like chalky looking in texture than my other pieces. I don't know what exactly that's from, but I do like it. It's quite nice. It does get sharper by the hair. I think it's because I'm following a little more closely with the like master study piece I was looking at as reference. But it's so fun. Just the highlights are sometimes like these like chunky shapes, and there's like just like wild colors, very like drastic highlights of purple and blue, and then like a more pale, deeper blue with the light coming down like from the night sky on top of her, like her hair. It's just, oh, it makes me, I don't chef's kiss my art too often, because usually I make a piece and then I look at it the next day and I go, oh my god, I hate it. But this is one of my prouder moments. I also do want to take this time to say thank you to everyone who does come to my streams. I have been obviously away for a little bit, and it has been a lovely return. I do miss streaming, and I'm hoping soon I will be moving, and if we do, I will be getting my own space which means I will be able to stream much more often. I can show off many more art pieces, many more arts, many more art fun. So, fingers crossed, look forward to that. And then if I do, there's a good chance I will be doing a freebie stream every so often, so everyone can come together and I can just doodle some people's OCs or whatever character they want. So, fingers crossed for that in the future as well. I also love to be able to draw Eerie, my sweet baby bean, a little more often because she is really fun. She's different. She's a different build than most characters, and obviously she's a sea dragon. So her facial structure is much different than many other characters. I'm only a little bit of a furry, okay? Like, just a little bit. Furries are great. But for now, I'll put a pin in that. We can talk about it later. Enjoy the rest of the footage. I will see you guys next time. Come see me on stream. I love to chitty chat with everybody. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. So much for watching, and thank you to all my patrons for supporting me. Special shout out goes to my $20 Demon tier patrons, Mimi Chai and Jay Laughs. See you guys next time. Bye!